Hey guys, this is Frozen Things Stews here, and welcome back to another movie review. And today, I'm gonna be reviewing The Fate of the Furious. So, The Fate of the Furious came out in the year 2017 and is the eighth installment in the Fast and Furious franchise, directed by F. Gary Gray and stars Vin Diesel, Jason Statham, Dwayne Johnson, Michelle Rodriguez, Tyrese Gibson, Ludacris, Charlize Theron, Kurt Russell, Natalie Emmanuel, Luke Evans, Elsa Pataki, and Scott Eastwood. So, The Fate of Furious tells the story of Dom and Letty who are on their honeymoon now, and Dom and they're on Cuba with the race scene. But after the race scene, Dom meets this mysterious woman named Cypher who offers Dom a job to be working for her. She's pretty much a cyber terrorist. Well, Dom doesn't really know it yet until like later on in the film that she's actually a terrorist. So she pretty much gives Dom a choice. Well, actually, I think Dom already kind of knew that, I guess, but I don't know. So Dom is offered a choice if he wants to take the job, but the job will lead him to betray everyone, or will Dom reject her and for his family, and of course, and yeah, he chose to work with Cypher, so meaning that he actually went rogue and betrayed betrayed the team, and as Dom is now with Cypher, and Cypher has his mission to steal weapons. And she has the ability to hack cars. The team is faced with probably the biggest test they're ever. I mean, the biggest challenge that they ever faced yet before. And not only do they have to work together to get Dom back and stop Cypher. They even work with the villain in the last film, Deckard Shaw, who pretty much becomes the male version of Nebula from the Guardians of the Galaxy films. So yeah, The Fate of Furious is the first Fast and Furious movie without Paul Walker's presence at all. Well, not counting Tokyo Drift, because I don't know why Brian wouldn't be in here. Well, yeah, I know there are some people who said that this whole franchise should stop after seven, because the let's be real here. The ending of Furious Seven felt like a finality to the franchise. It was such a perfect ending to Brian's character, and Brian is seen as the face of the franchise. So people thought that continuing on this franchise without Paul Walker is a bad thing, and now it has reached a point where this franchise has started to get a ton of hate, saying it just stop, and even like later on in the film, Hobbs and Shaw is kind of divisive. I mean, Hobbs and Shaw is actually well received. There are people who really like it, and some who say it's kind of bad, like a few. Like, I've seen more positive reviews for Hobbs and Shaw than negatives, but F9 is really hated, like unanimously hated. People say it is the worst Fast and Furious movie, but I'll talk more about that when I review F9, because I have interesting things to say about the film. And then we just recently got reviews for Fast X, and no boy, they're pretty mixed. They're all over the place. Someone say it is the best Fast and Furious film since 5, 6, and 7, or the worst in the franchise. But yeah, this movie right here was pretty much when the franchise has started to get its haters, and saying calling this a cash grab. Well, yeah, personally to me, I saw this movie. Just like Furious 7, I actually saw this one in theaters, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, I really enjoyed this film. I had a lot of fun, and yeah, I already understand this franchise is meant to have fun. But to be fair, I haven't. It wasn't really that time yet when I was kind of critical towards movies, so I didn't really know that this franchise was supposed to be stupid. I didn't even know it was stupid. I just really enjoyed it. Yeah, I was a different kind of person back then when it comes to my taste in movies. So yeah, but yeah, I saw it once again today. I rewatched it as part of my Fast and Furious reviews leading up to Fast X, and I gotta tell you right now, the Fate of Furious is actually extremely overhated. Like, probably even more underrated than Fast and Furious 4. To be honest, yeah, this might be the most underrated film in the franchise. Well, it's either this or F9. Well, we'll see. But as much as I really like Fast and Furious 2009, honestly, the more I think about it, my thoughts are starting. I'm starting to like lower my thoughts a bit. Like I think I was a little too generous by giving it a 4 out of 5. Nowadays, I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. The more I think about Fast and Furious 4, I pretty much now give it a 7 out of 10. But I will say, I still enjoy it more than the first Fast and Furious movie. But I mean, and it did bring back the franchise, but also I think it's a lot more flawed than I mentioned, and it's a tad bit forgettable. Like, I forgot some storylines that happened already, so it's not something I'll probably go back to. Like, the only reason I gave that film so much credit is because of Gal Gadot's character, but and also the action scenes are fun, but there are some boring scenes as well. Let's be real. So, Fast Four is now a 7 out of 10. And I think this movie kind of takes the cake for the most underrated film in the franchise. I mean, this movie is just so much fun from start to finish. Like, it's a blast, man. Like, yeah, even though it's actually a tad bit slow because let's be real, they don't bring out the cars until like 1 hour in the film. Like, we don't get some car action like for an hour, but that doesn't stop this movie from being like just so much fun and it takes up absurdity to another level. Not as much as Furious 7, but the absurdity is there. Now, I will start off with the flaws before I explain everything else because there's actually, although this movie has a lot to like, a lot in it to like, there is one big flaw I have in the movie. And I mean, I only have one flaw, and it's a big one. How my one flaw in the film is the plot. Oh my goodness. This probably has the dumbest plot in the entire franchise. I mean, it's not even like a dumb fun plot. I mean, I kind of don't like this plot. I mean, why would why would honestly, the thing about this plot is that it felt like it was a hishy kind of story. Like this is the kind of story you'd expect from a what if, like, this feels like a what if story, like, as in like Marvel's what if, what if Dom is the villain, turns out to be a villain and betrayed his team. Yeah, that's pretty much what this story felt like. Just an episode of what if, stretched out to 2 hours, and they really did Dom dirty here. Like, I did not like this. Like, this is really dumb. Like, now, yes, I know this franchise should not be taken seriously. It's a like they're really doing dumb things on purpose, but I mean, but Dom being like betraying his own Dom, like, the heart of the family, like reminding people that they should not turn their back on their family, literally turns his back on the family. Like, that is so like, no, just I don't know. I'm sorry, but that is just really stupid. But yeah, it's so stupid. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm speechless. Yeah, eventually of course, Dom would redeem himself at the end because it'll be messed up for him to just stay as the villain for the rest of the franchise. For the rest of the franchise. Yeah, so the story is not good. Probably one of the worst plots in the franchise, and Dom was done dirty. Although yes, I do have some nitpicks as well. Like um this probably features my least favorite racing scene in the entire franchise. Like, it's, I mean, probably feels like the wrong place and the wrong time to do the racing scene. It's like Dom's has was given an ugly looking car. Like, really, like, and yeah, that was the worst racing scene for me. Like, it's not horrible, but I just don't know. It just feels off. And also, like, why? And also, Hobbs and Shaw, by the way, I'm gonna talk about them later on because I will say right now they are one of the highlights of the film. But why would Hobbs and Shaw just suddenly how do I say this why there's a scene where Dom shot Shaw in the arms, and then, like, Hobbs and Shaw are like enemy, like, first appear as enemies, like literally always like arguing. How come Dom no how come Hobbs was so sympathetic to Shaw, like not really sympathetic, like, but like, how did he, like, he said no when Shaw got shot. I mean, they never really got along, and yet Hobbs literally just was mourning over Shaw's quote unquote death. Well, it was a fake out death anyway. Yeah, that was kind. So that nitpick and the race car scene is they're just nitpicks. They're not really important. It's just the plot and dumb that's my real issues. But let's be real here. I'm still giving this movie extra credit because well, where credits due. Where credits due. Credits to okay, where was I? There is a lot to like about this movie actually, and I mean a lot to like about this movie. Like, where do I even start with this? First of all, I want to talk about Cypher because let's be real here. I mean, probably the ideas that this movie had with Cypher brainwashing Dom to betray his family is stupid. Cypher might be my favorite Fast and Furious villain. Like seriously, I didn't really see that, but she's actually my favorite. I mean, she's so threatening. Like, she's such a major threat. I mean, first of all, I know I might be female character biased because she's probably the only main antagonist of the female characters. But Cypher is just really good for, like, Charlize Theron just portrays her perfectly in this one. In fact, this movie actually has some of the best performances in the franchise, which I'll get to in a bit. Which I'll get to in a bit, but yeah, Cypher is a major threat. Yeah, she's very manipulative and really got into Dom's way. Like, I'm really impressed with the kind of villain, like, what kind of threat. Like, she's extremely hateable. Like, she's really hateable. Like you really love to hate on Cypher because of everything she did. She killed the Dom's wife, Elena. That's kind of like actually why Dom married Letty later on. But yeah, I mean yeah, she had Elena, like she threatened Elena and then later on killed him. No, killed her. I mean, and she literally hacked into like she hacked into so many things. Like she knows where what everyone is doing. Like she literally can spy on everything. Like she knew that the main characters were using God's Eye to track down Dom. So Cypher just goes to them and steals the God's Eye and literally uses it to spy on everything, and she even hacks cars and makes hacks into car systems, and literally makes them you know create the chaos around New York City, and even have some cars from parkings fly out of the building and crash in the floor. I mean, wow, that is some big threat. And let's not forget her trying to launch a major submarine into the ice at the end. Wow. Yeah, Cypher really does those things, and even with even if you take out the Dom being betraying his family storyline, which they should have had, I mean, they really should have kept Cypher as a villain because man, she's an awesome villain. Although I didn't think that she needed to return. I think Cypher should have been already defeated in this movie because I think Cypher should not have escaped and maybe show could have been the one holding a parachute and escaping because let's be real here I mean Cypher in F9, oh boy, and I feel like Cypher is starting to like overstay her welcome. Like I'm so good at crapping her on F9. But then Fast X, I don't know. She's probably the one thing I'm not looking forward to. I'm not looking forward to seeing Cypher again, trying to overstay her welcome. But we'll see how that turns out. What else is there? Oh yeah. Also, the thing that we can all agree on, like even the haters, the one thing we can all agree on about this movie, one of the highlights of this movie is the banter between Hobbs and Shaw. Like, I guess that's probably why they made the Hobbs and Shaw movie because they wanted to see more banters between Hobbs and Shaw. Like they both have really good chemistry. Like enemies being forced to work together, but when they're actually in business working together, they're actually they have good chemistry. But even as enemies, they really have good chemistry. Like what many consider to be the best scene in the film, like the prison break scene, which is pretty much Hobbs and Shaw escaping from prison while fighting off these prison guards and other prisoners in probably the most ridiculous and absurd way possible. And yeah, I think they're back and forth banter with each other, and their arguments is it's just really good, and I really enjoy seeing them together. Like they're both some of the big highlights of the movie of the characters. And yeah, I think all the characters have such charm to it. There's a lot of charm to be had with these characters, and some of the performances are really good. You got the usual, Ted, Ramsey, what was there? Also, a great new addition from Little Nobody, Mr. Nobody's daughter, no, son, I mean. Yeah, yes, actually, Mr. Nobody's daughter will actually be Fast X, but yeah, but no, his son, trying to learn how to work like him. I really enjoyed that. Also, I think this might be Roman at his best. Like I really love his comedic timing. In this yeah. I really enjoy his comedic that timing in this. I mean, he's just beyond hilarious. Really hilarious, and yeah, he has some really funny jokes too. I don't know. I can't exactly recall one of them right now, but yeah, love his jokes. And of course, there's the sound of the film. Unsurprisingly, it's Letty. Like, Letty is pretty much the emotional core of this movie. Like, Michelle Rodriguez probably gives her best performance in this franchise, in my opinion. Like her acting is really good, especially considering that Michelle Rodriguez really has to push her as character because of the plotline of Dom betraying the team. I mean, especially with Letty. I mean, Letty, Michelle Rodriguez really had to push her acting to be able to help portray the emotions that Letty has when it comes to her reaction to Dom betraying. That scene with Dom and Cypher stealing a terrorist and then Letty looking at Dom by telling him um, why are you doing this? Why are you turning back on family? You don't turn your back on family. And then yeah, she really gives a look. Man, that acting that scene is really good. Like there was a scene in the middle after the New York fight where we see like some really good acting with the no Michelle Rodriguez. Like when she when Letty, well technically it's still in the New York fight scene when Letty met Dom and told Dom, no, I know you love me, and I know you're gonna shoot me. Yeah, that is great acting there. And yeah, and then well, what was I gonna say again? Okay, I'm gonna say something else after that, but oh yeah, now let's talk about the action scenes. Wow, I mean the action in this movie is absolutely absurd. This is Fast and Furious, It's not as effective as Furious Seven was. The action not as good, but I mean you got some really ridiculous things, and I love it. I mean you got cars flying off a building, cars being hacked and self driving to create chaos in New York City. I already talked about the prison break scene, and of course, let's not forget the final battle with the submarine. Like, wow, that final battle is insane. That was probably my personal favorite action scene in the film. Like Cypher in that scene was being such a real threat. Having submarines. Submarines. Throwing up bombs. I'm sure you know what I mean by that. It's hard to explain, but it's just really absurd. Yeah, it's just also this movie has some of the best cars in the franchise. I think about what I said about Tokyo Drift. This movie right here has featured some of the best cars in the franchise. Um, Best cars in the franchise to me, and what else is there to say? Oh yeah. I want to talk about my personal favorite scene in the film. Like just like Furious Seven, there was actually a scene where I actually teared up in. It's a scene where Dom reunited with Elena on the plane. When when we see and we see that Elena actually has a baby. And then we see yeah, and then Elena says protect the baby. Do it for me. Give him the first name. And then we see Dom looking at the baby. Man, that scene really made me tear up. It was such a beautiful scene, and I never thought something like this would make me as emotional as I was with F9. Yeah. So overall, the Fate of Furious is now among my absolute favorite Fast and Furious movies. it's definitely a step down from Fast Five to Seven. I think we can all agree on that. But I think this movie gets far too much hate. I think this and F9 are probably the most overhated films in the franchise. The most overhated films in the franchise. Yeah, sure. The story was, yeah, sure. I mean, the story was pretty bad, and I didn't really like what they did with Dom, but everything else. But besides the story, I mean, there's so much to love about this. Like pretty much almost everything else, and anyway, when it comes to this franchise, you don't really have to rely on story to say if the movie's good or bad. If a Fast and Furious movie's good or bad, you just have to enjoy it. And I enjoyed pretty much every second of this film. My eyes were glued to the screen from start to finish. And I was never bored at one scene at all. So yeah, with that said, I'm gonna give the Fate of Furious an 8 out of 10. Yeah, yeah, I said before that I prefer Fast and Furious 4 over this one, but I take that back. This movie's better. Well, actually, I even though I said earlier that I declined my thoughts in 10 out of 10, I made a 10 out of 10. Actually, I kind of take that back. I still give that film an 8 out of 10. I'll low 8 out of 10. But I'll probably look back at the movie further before my ranking of all the Fast and Furious movies after I see Fast X. So yeah. So also for my review of the Fate of the Furious, what is your opinion on this movie? Do you agree with me that that this movie is underrated? Movie is underrated and does not deserve any of the hate it gets, or do you think that this movie has brought the franchise down, that has made the franchise go downhill? Comment down below, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and stay tuned for my trailer reaction to some trailers. I mean, I recently filmed the one for the trailer reaction for Mission Impossible. I don't know when I'll upload it. And also, of course, stay tuned for my trailer reaction. No, stay tuned for my review of Hobbs and Shaw. Bye, guys.